Hello and welcome, everyone. How you guys doing? How is everyone tonight? We'll be hopping back into the Legacy of Fate world with the Pub Crawl group. We got a bunch of new things coming to the channel soon. Hopefully, I'll be able to, once everything is locked down, I'll be able to kind of give you guys some updates. We are taking people into the Discord, as exclamation point Discord down below. More information. As you can see right down here at the bottom of the screen, the World of Pharrell Discord. Status, 28 users currently online and RPing. A couple new things we want to try out, some new ideas, have some fun, maybe bigger joint adventures. So that is what we'll be going to be doing today. So, that being said, let's go in and we'll introduce our characters. We'll figure out where they are, and we'll have some fun tonight. A little bit later than normal. We apologize. Had some things to handle. So, hello, players.
Hello.
Hey,
Hello.
First and foremost, Firefly, are you in the chat?
I am.
Can you do exclamation point Firefly?
Sure. Hold on, it's lagging.
Do you mean the chat on?
The chat on the Twitch chat. Are you in Twitch chat, Firefly, or no?
Aw.
There you go. We have a Firefly command now. So, now that is sorted,
Thank you.
Firefly, who are you playing? A brief little, catch up for everyone.
I am playing Liliana Starblade. She's a half-elf wizard. Dark hair and green eyes, and she's traveling with her group of people, and we just recently had a discussion with a lich, and Sir Tim decided that she should be killed, and we are in Arden currently to help find our another friend Aska, who was teleported away to the Shadowfell.
Okay. That will take us to, I believe, Nase.
hello.
Who are you playing? A brief little introduction to him.
I am playing Thomas Stoneheart, the now non-concussed halfling fighter rogue. There's been no giggling over there from Tree.
The concussor.
The concussor. I was the concussee. And, playing little halfling. He likes to have fun and make jokes and apparently use other people as his cover.
Interesting. So, that will take us to Spartans.
Spartans. That's me.
Yes.
I'm playing a character named Sir Tim. He is a human noble from the human kingdoms of. I have it on my sheet. The continent known as Kipron.
Correct.
He's a gunslinger who has bad news and a pistol and a scimitar. So, that's him.
Interesting. And finally, Miss Tree.
Yay! I'm playing Cirilla. She is a human blood hunter from the Darwoods. She comes from a little blood hunter tribe, I guess. I don't know what to call it. From there. Yeah.
She's from a clutch.
Yeah,
Use the word clutch. Because why not?
that.
So, that being said, at the end of the last episode, you guys stepped through a portal because plot, right? Easiest way to get you guys somewhere. Stepping through a portal. You guys had chose to go to Arden. Merlin had teleported you guys there. However, not all of you make it. As you guys step out, Tim, the only other person you see is Siri.
He looks around and looks at Siri and kind of tilts his head. Well, at least there's peace and quiet now.
as by the way you say that, almost like you challenge the gods themselves. You know, you guys start to hear the sounds as they, you know, bustling kind of city. You look around. There is, it's a partial wall. It looks like it is being built up currently. You see, you know, buildings that, you know, are almost rubble but seem to have been being cleared. You see much newer architecture going up. Many of them look more permanent than, you know, there are some still what looks to be like temporary housing in parts around. And there is one thing that you note here. Almost everyone you see is a dragonborn.
Oh. This will be interesting.
It could be interesting.
I have no idea where I'm at.
You're in Ardent. I already shipping you.
Don't know where that's at.
Well, you're standing outside a city.
If you did the shipping, I didn't get it.
How about now?
Okay. Tim's gonna look to Siri and look around and just look to her again and says, "This was the destination we chose, right?"
Do I know it's the right place?
Yeah, you're somewhere, that's for sure.
Siri's just like, I'm not entirely positive. You brought us somewhere.
Alright. Tim will
Where he
nod.
brought the others is the question.
I have no idea where the others are, but we should find exactly where we are and get solid ground or footing. And he begins walking towards the city.
Yeah, I mean, it's, you know, no more than a 10-minute walk. The gate, the wall's not finished, but it looks like they are, there's a number of Dragonborn finishing up. You note that there's, at a quick glance, the city's not massive. Like, it looks like it once was much bigger, but they are kind of building the inner for what they have. You notice that there are some small Dragonborn children running around. There's a number of, ranging in age from like middle age to adults walking around. Everyone seems to be of a purpose, however.
Okay. Is there anyone, like, if I look around or glance, or if I keep walking to the city, does anyone look more, I would say, in power here?
Give me an investigation check.
Of course. Yeah, 7.
Sarah, are you also looking for someone in power?
Yeah.
You note a couple people that maybe have a little bit more wealth than others, but there doesn't even seem to be a town guard, really.
Mm-hmm.
Huh. Which one who would it be? Tim just looking around. Him? No. Him? Maybe? Him? No. He looks at Siri. Siri. I cannot discern who would be in power here. I don't know Dragonborn that well.
Honestly, it doesn't really look like anyone is in true power here.
Well, there has to be some type of mayor or something. Will there not be?
We can try and go find one.
A couple of the
Okay.
kids start like looking at you oddly as they run up. Do either of you speak Draconic?
I think Sir Tim does actually. Let me check. Let me double check that. Oh no, he doesn't. Damn it! No, he doesn't.
What about Cirilla?
Nope.
They're speaking in this serpent-like tongue, and like they seem excited, and they just keep talking to you in it, and waiting for a response.
Tim slowly starts.
Siri's eyes gloss over like. And she's gonna do what you know how people act with people that are foreign and they just start talking in really slow English. She's gonna just start talking really slow common.
What did she say?
Like, I don't understand.
They seem to look at each other and start talking in Draconic to each other, and then they point to you, and then they both seem to laugh.
What? You broke up a little
They
bit.
point to you, and they both seem to laugh.
Oh my god.
Tim's gonna. These are kids, right? How tall are they? compared to us?
They're probably, you know, what we would consider like, maybe like 4, 5, 6 years old, like, you know, still very young children.
How tall are they?
Maybe like 2, 3 foot.
Tim's gonna kind of hunch over, look to them, and just say, "Is there anyone that lives here that runs this place?"
They look to you, tilting their head sideways, and start talking to you in Draconic again.
He looks back to Cerelia. I don't think we're getting anywhere with this.
We probably need to find somebody that speaks common.
Tim is gonna look to the Dragonborn kids, and like say, like slowly, "My name is Sir Tim," and then he points to himself. Sir Tim.
She points to you and says something in Draconic, and then points to herself and says something in Draconic.
God damn it. Oh, this is interesting. So I stand straight up and I kind of yell out, "Does anybody understand common?"
Someone yells back to you in Draconic.
Oh god, he looks at Shirley and is like, "We need the others."
Yeah.
So you guys start wandering around the town, looking for someone who speaks common, right?
I'm gonna walk around town and basically go up to person and see if they understand common, and if they don't, go to the next person.
As you start talking, well, so what are you saying to these people?
"Hello, my name is Sir Tim. Do you speak common?"
The first person responds to you in Draconic. You're in the middle of like this bizarre area now, probably walking into town, looking for the most amount of people, I would assume, right?
Most amount of people.
You're trying, or are you trying to go like down like back roads and go to like more residences trying to ask? I would assume you would have gone to like towards the markets. And that
I
sort of
would
area.
want to go towards, I guess, the center. Like what is the equivalent
markets
of
are in the
this
center.
town's? Yeah, like the town square or something like
Yeah.
that. Okay.
Yeah. So you begin walking in, and there's you know, merchant to merchant keeps responding to you in Draconic. So, you know, about a few hours go by before I would say the first of your party is dropped off outside the city after their events had cleared up. That'd be Ileana, because you went during the day. Ileana, you're standing outside. Looks like a smaller village. The roads, the walls being currently built. You look in and you see it's primarily Dragonborn. I said primarily. You're assuming that there might be some other races here, but you only see Dragonborn currently.
Oh. Hello there.
Do you speak Draconic?
I do.
So another pair of kids comes running up towards you. As now another person appeared out of thin air, and a Draconic. How'd you do that?
Magic.
She looks. She goes. See, I told you the other two weren't cursed. It's magic. She goes. She responds. Well, they can't speak Draconic, so I think they still are cursed.
They unfortunately never learned the language, it seems.
We learned languages.
Me too.
What ones do you speak? The little girl asks.
I speak lots. What one did you speak?
Draconic, Elvish, Gnomish, Common, and Dwarvish.
I'm learning Gnomish. I speak Common and Elvish and Dwarvish and Draconic and Orcish.
Orcish? What's that one sound like?
Oh, she says, my name is Ileana, nice to meet you in Orcish.
That's scary.
Yeah, it's a little scary.
She looks to the boy. You need to learn that. He nods.
You gonna be scary?
I'm a dragon. Rah.
Rawr.
She says, do you know the people that don't speak Draconic?
I might.
He pointed to himself really slowly and said, my name is Sir Tim. So I tried to teach him Draconic. I said his name and then I said my name. And the other one might not be bright. The boy says, she spoke Common really slowly.
Oh.
Like really slow.
I don't think that they knew that you spoke Common.
We were told not to talk to strangers.
That's really smart. Do you know which way they went?
They're currently speaking really slowly to everyone in the markets. And I think most of the people are just taking the piss out of them. Because everyone here speaks Common.
Aww. Can you lead me to them? My name's Ileana, by the way. She'll hold out her hand for both of them.
And I'm giving you their names right now.
Thank you.
The first one will be their girl. So I'll just read her. And the boy's
What
name
color
is,
are they?
They are both silver. You look at them, you're pretty sure they're brother and sister.
Aww.
I'm Dazina, and that's Backaxe.
It's nice
Doesn't
to
it
meet you.
in common? And she says it in common. Backaxe. Doesn't it sound like you get hit in the back with an axe?
It
In your
does.
language?
Thanks.
And they both they kind of like lift their hands up towards you and bring you in the direction. Like, so why are you here?
We were here. We were gonna meet somebody named Kriv. Find out what another friend is going.
Kriv Okara?
Yeah. Do you know him?
Huh?
Where's he?
I don't know. But he's around here somewhere usually.
Well, maybe we'll find him too.
Maybe.
I think it'll be fun.
I'm looking to see. He didn't put that anywhere, did he?
What are you looking at?
Tisk. Paul. Tisk. No, I was looking to see if he put him in here. I'll have to go back and look for something. He took notes on the side, so I was trying to see where things were. They kind of like lead you in to the city. So as you're sitting here, Tim, you and Siri have not seen Ileana yet, but you're on you guys are on merchant number 13 at this point. What is your questioning taken now? Like, how are you now approaching these merchants? Each one is only responding to a Draconic.
Tim kind of like takes a breath and is like, okay, let's try this again. Hello, my name is Sir Tim. Does anyone around here speak common?
So, Ileana, give me a perception check.
Roger that.
Sarah, are you also speaking very slowly to them still?
No, I think Siri's just kind of like
Giving up?
out of it. She's just like, please tell me you speak common.
So Ileana, you hear in Draconic, well, most of us speak common. But it's in Draconic.
Tim looks to him and looks at Siri. Okay, on to the next one.
You just see him wave. As Sir Tim and Sir Leah move to the next merchant, who's already kind of get that dragonborn grin.
Ileana will move to the merchant they just talked to and ask him in Draconic how long have they been at this.
Looks to the sky. He says, well, the sun's there. And he points to, like, what would be morning. Since then, I can't see the sundial, so I couldn't give you a good approximation of time. I'm sorry.
Oh no, that's okay. It's a fair enough.
Are you with them?
I am.
He
That's
looks
it.
over to the next merchant and Draconic goes, Alright, we've had our fun. One of them knows our language. And Sir Tim, as you approach the next merchant, what do you say?
One more time. Siri. Hello, my name is Sir Tim. Does anyone around here speak common?
Yes, actually, most of us speak common.
Finally!
He's laughing. He's like, in the future, you might ask that you would like to speak in common with someone. You asked if someone spoke common. They've all replied in Draconic that they do. You see, like, the merchants, they're all like, all of them now grinning, having a little bit of fun.
Tim shakes his head. We've been trying to search for anyone that is... I'm not sure of your culture, but in our culture, it would be through the relevance of a mayor or a person in charge here. I'm
We have an
quite
elder.
unsure. A what?
An elder.
Oh, where's this? Can you show us where this elder is?
He points to, like, a building. It's closer towards, like, you see a mine entrance.
Yeah.
He points to, like, there's a nicer kind of... It looks temple-esque. But it's got a different kind of style than temples you've seen prior. He's generally in the Temple of Helm.
The Temple of what?
Helm.
Helm. Okay. Is there anything I need to know prior to going to this temple? Like, if I don't want to offend anyone, I don't know the culture.
He looks at Tim up and down. Don't curse Helm? Or Bahamut?
Why would anyone do that?
I don't know. he's just looking like, he kind of chuckles and goes, listen, we are probably very similar to the culture you come from. Like, we tend to listen to the elder as he has the most knowledge.
Tim nods, and he just says, this is possibly the first time I've been in a city full of Dragonborn.
Well, we've not always been here, so...
Yes. I come from a city where it's nothing but mostly human.
We were on an island previously, and at this point, I'm saying you probably walked up next to them.
Oh, before she did that, she would have gotten the name of the merchant that she talked to.
Of course. His name?
Temple of Helm. That's an interesting temple. Opens notes.
And she would have told both him and
He's green.
Dazita and Backaxe that there should be a halfling that comes along. His name is Thomas.
And immediately the two kids grin and run back towards the entrance.
He's our friend. I don't know if he speaks Draconic, but point him
We'll
our
find
way.
out!
Thank you.
They say in common, by the way, as they run by Siri and Sir Tim.
Tim just looks at Siri and shakes his head. Oh. Oh, hi.
Sir Tim? Cirilla? I heard you had a bit of trouble communicating with the locals.
I don't speak their language.
Where are you headed?
Well, appearing here in this city, town, we were going to look for whoever was in charge or someone of power. But this merchant, he points and he kind of like gestures to the guy next to them, says that there is an elder here that could probably give us some information.
Hello, sir. My name's Eliana. What's your name?
Oh, and he greets you in Draconic, by the way.
She greets him in the same.
And, his name is Zorkris. He is a... trying to think. Bronze Dragonborn. And you see, like, sweets, sort of, you know, not necessarily like normal food, but like kind of treats. You would assume around his stall.
How much are your sweets?
And he kind of motions. There's like a cinnamon roll-esque. We'll call it a sweet roll, so that someone stole your sweet roll later. He says those are 2 coppers. There's like a harder candy. It's got like a red. He says these are spicy. And he says these are a silver. And then he's got this really odd looking kind of twisted brown substance. And he says that's a gold.
What is it?
He breaks up like a small piece that kind of pulls slightly, and he holds it out to you. Try it.
She takes it and tries it.
It's toffee.
She will pay a gold piece.
Yeah, he gives you the rest of the piece. It's a pretty big piece too, by the way.
Thank you very much. My friends said that they had asked you for information on an elder.
Yes.
What was it? What was his name be?
Krivo of Kara.
Wonderful. We needed to speak with him.
No, he's generally around the temple. I don't think he's left for Wishick too recently.
Hopefully we can catch him before he leaves for Wishick then. That's quite a distance from here, I'm assuming.
It's about a week.
By land or by sea?
By land. It's other kind of other side of the continent. He can explain more. That I personally only sell here. There's a few of the gem merchants that make the trip, but most of us we pretty much self-sustain, as does Wishick.
It's very lucky you're able to do so.
Well,
Is
someone
there a
had to
map?
rebuild this place.
I'll rebuild it from what?
Well, I think it's best if Crib explains that to you. This way, I won't give you any wrong information. Mine is mostly secondhand.
Okay. Is there a place around here that sells maps?
We do not have any cartographers here. At least normally, I don't know if there's any outside merchants that arrived early this morning or have not come to the square.
Do you have a tavern in here yet? It seems as though you're rebuilding, as you said.
There is one by, he points. You can see the steeple hum. He says on the other side of the road there is a small tavern.
What's its name? Or does it have a name? Is it just a small
He
tavern?
will give it to you. I just gotta pull it up because I don't know where my notes are for all this, so I might be renaming things as we go. You're the first group to get here. You get to find all the information first for once.
Yay.
It's known as the Sparkling Pickaxe.
I bet there's a great story behind that name.
Our mine is not, and he's trained. He goes to Common to explain this to you. And when he was only the introduction at first was in Draconic when he greeted her. Well, hello. Everything else has been in Common for you guys because he knows the two of you don't speak Draconic. He says, Wishik's mine is ripe with metals. It is the iron that comes out of it is phenomenal for weapons and other parts, as well as the stone is denser than ours, better for walls. So what they send us iron and stone to build the walls. Our mine is full of precious gems. And thus the Sparkling Pickaxe.
Oh, it was aptly named then.
Peanuts.
Is Wishik the closest city to you guys around here, or is there one closer?
In terms of non-ruins, yes.
Good to know. If you do see a halfling named Thomas, probably being escorted by Bezita and Backaxe, can you send him to the temple? I assume that's where we'll be.
Of course.
Thank you, Zorkus.
Very well, Liliana. Tim, and who were you? Looking to Cyrilia.
Cyrilla.
Cyrilla. And what he does is he says, he looks to both of you. For the future, he says, Tim, he says your name in Draconic. And then Cyrilla, he also says your name in Draconic. You guys can both put down that you know your names in Draconic at least. So I take it you guys make the walk up towards the temple?
I believe so.
Yeah.
Tim will look to Ilyana and be like, and just ask, "Was Thomas with you?"
Thinks back.
Because when we arrived, you and him were not in sight.
When we did the crossover, I don't think he was with me, so I teleported here by myself. It's been a lovely day on an island.
I hope he's not lost.
I have faith he'll show up eventually.
Should we wait for him before we leave to the temple, or should we go to the temple post-haste?
Depends. I know Dazita and Backaxe will probably be waiting for him to appear, and they can lead him into town, and the merchants can lead him up to the temple with us. We can make notes and fill him in on the conversation from there.
I mean, all this and, having the treats. You guys have not eaten today, by the way.
We haven't eaten for like 2 days, technically.
No. You had rations, but you guys haven't actually eaten today.
Perhaps we should look to stop somewhere to eat.
I mean, there's vendors and stuff with all sorts of different, like, smoked meats, and or there's also, you could go to the tavern. It's your choice.
Tim's stomach rumbles and he looks inside of his coin purse. He slowly shakes his head and... Do I have any rations left?
You
Let's
also
hit-
heard the prices of things, too. Nothing here is, in terms of food, is very expensive.
I only have
You-
3
you-
silver pieces.
Copper and silvers were most. The toffee, which is a painstaking process to make, was a gold. And mind you, it was like a 1.5 foot long piece of toffee that's thick. Like, Ileana could literally eat that for the next month, breaking off pieces she did.
Okay.
It doesn't seem like they're, like, from what you've learned so far, looking and seeing the prices, and if you talk to the merchants, they're not charging to make a bunch of money. They're just charging for time.
Tim, in that case, will look to... His stomach will rumble, look to his coin purse, and look to Iliana and Cerelia. He said, I forgot to get food or go somewhere. I don't have much to spend.
Then let's head to the tavern and see what they have.
Tim nods and looks to Cerelia.
Alright, let's go.
Yeah, as you're walking up, most of the calls, there's still no. You're hearing a lot of Draconic, Tim and Cerelia. Ileana, you're hearing, like, trying to ply their wares, calling out, red roast of lamb, and all sorts of other different calling outs for foods along the way.
Interesting.
As you guys make your way up to the sparkling pickaxe, it seems a little quiet. The sun's not quite set yet. Overall in the day, so it does seem like the tavern is quiet. You're not coming into like a bustling tavern. You basically would assume that from what you've learned so far, it's probably because most of the people are working. The tavern's probably quiet, very quiet during the day, and it probably picks up at night.
Ileana will step in and she'll go up to the front to talk to the owner.
So
Hello.
as you guys enter in, it's a very small, modest tavern. There is a staircase off to your right that looks like it leads upstairs. Basing off what you guys see size-wise, there's probably a few rooms upstairs for travelers, but it also looks like you don't hear anything upstairs, so you probably think that they don't get too many people that are staying overnight in this part of the world right now. That rooms are there because in case things expand, but they're probably not very very well used. The door comes in, you call out hello. You don't immediately see anyone behind the bar. There's no one in any seats. You hear a voice. What language do you call hello out? I should ask.
She'd do Draconic first.
You hear a female dragon born voice bring back in Draconic. 1 minute. It's not night yet. You must be travelers. Hold on.
We are. It's okay. We can be patient. Don't injure yourself.
You hear some like pots and pans kind of being moved and set down as a golden dragonborn female steps out from the kind of the back room. She's got like flour on her face a little bit. She's trying to clean her scales off, and she kind of grabs a cloth and wipes her hands. All of you speak Draconic, or
Just me so far.
it's gone. Welcome. How can I help all of you? My name is Valnore. this is my establishment. It's just me here right now. Most of my staff doesn't come in till evening because, as you can see, we're not exactly busy during the day.
Oh, that makes perfect sense. We were wondering about food items.
Supper's not quite done, but minor meals. I can definitely whip something up for all of you. Any specifics?
She would look to the others.
Anything that you might have ready would be fine. I personally have not eaten. I'm not sure about the rest of you. And he looks to both Ileana and Cerelia, with a look of questioning.
Then yeah, certainly you haven't eaten either. And Ileana, you've only really had that piece of topping because I don't think you ate on the island.
You had a roast, I thought.
Oh yes, you did. You had a full meal.
Cyrilla's just like, I'm up for anything.
Whatever you have.
Very well. A moment, please. And she walks in the back, and you can hear some more pots and pans kind of, jostling around as she's probably getting whatever is ready for what would be dinner, the dinner rush, kind of put on plates for you. She comes out with a kind of lumpy white substance that has some like green flakes in it. And then there is like a small, what you would assume is kind of on the rarer end of some sort of like beef. She said, I do apologize, most of the vegetables aren't ready yet. They just kind of went on the stove. And she slides the plates in front of the two of you. Because, Ileana, you weren't eating, correct? Or were you?
I was gonna get some.
Yeah, then she comes up with
Thomas
three plates.
Tyson.
Yep.
Thank you very much. It looks delicious.
Well, hopefully. Otherwise, I'll have a lot of complaints tonight.
Is it possible to get this? I don't know if you do to go, but I want to keep it for a friend.
Oh, would you let me just keep it warm?
Yes.
You walk over and there's like this small kind of... she takes the regular plate and she grabs like a metal plate, kind of sliding it on. And then there's almost like this... this metal... It would look like what we would think of as like this small kind of... like hot stove top, right? With grates. And you just see her set it on there and says, well, I haven't started it today yet, so... And then she fire breaths it up a light and keeps the plate on it to keep it warm.
That's amazing.
What? For her, this is completely not commonplace. Like, she doesn't, she's not exactly sure what you're referencing.
Your fire breath, your way of keeping the items warm.
Well, I mean, it saves on tinder boxes, right?
It does. If we could all be so lucky, it would be that much better.
She smiles. So, what brings you all to Ardent? You don't look like merchants. Are you here to buy precious gems, then?
No, I don't think so. Maybe eventually. Right now we're gonna go talk to Krivo Kara. We need his information.
Crib, lovely man.
Did she
That's good to know.
Did she what?
Did she tell us how much the price was on this food?
You never asked.
All right. Tim looks to her, then again looks to his coin purse. Says, "Excuse me, but what is the price for this food?"
Standard price. Oh yeah,
Which
you're new.
is-
You're new. I do apologize. We don't get many outsiders. It will be 3 copper pieces for the meal. Normally 5 with the vegetables and everything, but just 3 as you did not get a full meal.
Thank
And
you.
ale, water, or we do have a small bit of milk.
Watch will be fine. And he pulls out a silver piece and hands it to her.
This is far too much. She puts it back down.
He just nods and slides back to her. It's fine, really. Thank you. I have not eaten a meal in quite some time.
Okay, and she she attempts to give back, and it almost like as a manner thing would take it and drops it into like this kind of bucket underneath. So water, the drink was included in the meal if you were attempting to save money?
Just
Good.
water. I don't think drinking this early is a good idea.
You would note that it's like in the middle of like almost late afternoon. It's not too early.
Yeah, but I'm also
That's fine. Cerelia, what would you like to drink?
Just tea is fine.
Okay. And she kind of gets over, and again, you see her pull like a kettle, fills it with water, and begins to boil the water on top of that hot stove, and kind of hands you this small little box, wooden box, and anyone you would like, and hands you a mug of water, Tim. As you take your first sip, it's very cold.
very cold.
Not like so cold like as it is. It's like ice water.
That's new. I assume normally in other taverns the water's never cold, right?
It's generally room temperature.
He takes a drink and he kind of like goes wide an eye and looks to her and says, "This is different. I've never had water such cold and refined."
She chuckles. She goes, "Well, we have found that as I use my fire breath to heat food, we tend to get a little more preservation out of our food stock by keeping everything cold with cold breaths and making what was called what he calls as a cold box."
He nods, taking a drink again, kind of like feeling more refreshed now that the sense of
And
satisfaction from it.
the food is the spice is a little different than what you guys are probably used to, but it's very tasty. And the white lumpy thing with green flakes is literally just mashed potatoes.
Oh,
It's seasoned with like garlic and some salt. You would note that like compared to what we normally eat, the salt is way down because salt is a very precious resource for most people.
Yeah.
However, because they have literally invented a cold box or an ice box, they don't need to use salt to preserve food anymore. They have cold. So they have started to flavor their food with a little bit of salt.
Tim nods and looks to her. That's quite ingenious.
She goes, "Well, I can't take credit for that one. That's how we preserved food back on the island."
Island?
Well, I am I am not very young in terms of my culture. I still remember when we lived in the island of Limassol.
Okay.
And here, let me get you the whole story. Let me do this so I don't mess up any existing canon. Give me a second. Scrolls. I have so many things. I need to find a better way to sort these.
All the notes.
Here we go. Well, back in the island of Limassol, us Dragonborns, mind you, I was very, very young. We used to live in pretty much harmony with some Fae. That was the way it was for quite a while. However, when I was about 18, a disease hit the island. It killed about 60% of the inhabitants. Many of us who survived this first wave of the outbreak gained an immunity to this disease, and we continued to live on the island with the Fae.
Faye.
Yes, Fae. Mostly sprites and stuff of that nature. The more good-natured Fae. We didn't really have much displacer beasts or anything along those lines.
I don't really have any recollection of the Fae. This is probably most likely the second time I've heard of this.
The Fae, and she kind of gets out a piece of parchment and like a quill and draws a circle in the center, and she puts a star. This is the material plane. That is where we are. And then she draws in almost like a Venn diagram with two other circles that intersect. She points to one. This is the Shadowfell, a place of nightmares. And the other one, she goes, this is the Fae. Imagine if the world, for instance, as you know it, the material plane, was more... And she's kind of searching for the word in common, and then she goes, it'll be easier for me to have your friend explain this in common. And she switches to Draconic. She goes, imagine a world that is more purely nature, one where the size of the trees is grander. It's and mind you, she's talking with her hands, so you're hearing all these Draconic words go to Ileana that she just can't. She's not. She speaks common, but she's probably not. She's very much out of practice.
Ileana nods and takes notes.
Where nature is king, not man or dragonborn or anything else. Nature is king. And then she looks back and switches back to common. I hope that she can translate it better than me.
Tim nods and just looks to her and says, Do you know how to get to the Shadowfell?
No, I am glad I do not. Would have no desire to see such a place. I know of a weakening in rumor to the Fae, but that's about it.
He nods. We've been there once, but only for a short time.
She nods. The reason we're no longer on Limassol, though, was by about my 37th year. There was a nearby human civilization that attacked because they feared how close we were with the Fae. We were devastated in the attack and suffered catastrophic losses. Yeah. We had to abandon our home because we had no ability to defend against another attack. We relocated to a small island in the mainland known as Nicosia. However, we never, with the lack of resources, we were living in pretty much hovels. That was about 2 years ago now, when Kriv returned to us. He showed us, and him and Talgar, and I believe Gotrek was the other one. It was a crazy little dwarf with an eye patch, but he had an eye underneath it. It was weird, to be completely honest with you. And we then loaded boats, and we sailed to Wishik, where we then made a pilgrimage, as they gave us Ardent as our own. We were able to build permanently here, and with our alliance with Wishik, able to kind of have our own sort of city to help rebuild the continent.
Tim will look to Ileana and nod to her. I'm sorry, but Talgar is...
No, we heard.
He nods. What was the... If you don't mind me asking, what was the name of that human place that...
The country itself is known as the Lands of Blackmarsh.
The lands of what?
Blackmarsh.
Oh God.
Did the kingdom have a name?
That is the kingdom's name.
Isn't that where we're from?
No.
No? Okay, good.
Black Marsh had once been in an open war with the other kingdoms on the continent. However, I'll get you the continent's name. I want to make sure I have it right. That is the continent name. The land of Edosia. Make sure I spelled that right. Yep, Edosia. There's three. There is the lands of Blackmarsh to the northwest. There is the kingdom of the Black Mountain, dwarven settlement. Black Mountain Pass being its capital. And then there's the lands of Faycrest, predominantly human to the south. That's on the main sort of continent there. That's southern Edosia, to be specific. Northern Edosia is home to wandering Goliaths and a very small sort of town. I believe that is where Sari, the paladin, the cleric, in Wishik is from. Is from the kind of lands of the Goliaths south of Twin Peaks Pass. And he was gained his training according to what they told us in the free city of Cathcart. So I will obviously spell Cathcart for you because the rest is pretty easy to know.
Thank you.
And Faycrest is this one. That is where most of that group that traveled with Crib and Crib himself was from. They're from Edosia. The light in the windows starts to kind of creep down as it's more transition tonight. Thomas!
I assume we would finish our food and head on to the temple.
Yep, we'll get you there in 1 second. Thomas, how are you?
Give me just a moment. I'm sorry.
Oh, of course. Ring in. I know you're not ready. See how it is, Aussie. Hugs.
Sorry, I was putting Bailey back to bed.
Not a problem. So Thomas, you end up strolling out with a little bit of whistle to you, no longer concussed, and these two little Dragonborn children jump up as they see you and start rushing towards you.
Thomas looks at him. He goes, hello. Hold on a minute. Looks in the book. Bonjour.
They must stop and look at you, tip their head and start speaking in Draconic to you.
He looks down and he goes, you happen to speak common?
The girl and the boy then start conversing again in Draconic, and the boy then has this kind of grin on him and starts speaking in super slow common to you. My name Backaxe. You tiny.
No, Thomas, but close enough.
Tiny, yes.
Damn it.
And they both grab your hands.
Damn it. And then he looks in his book and he goes, I'm sorry. Well, damn it.
And they start dragging you towards the center of town.
Oh my God.
Where are we going?
One who speaks like this. And then the girl says, I'm Sir Tim.
Sir Tim speaks
And
like
points,
this?
and
I
points,
knew it.
and points to herself. Sir Tim.
My God, you've been changed.
And then the boy looks to you and says, and Ileana, this way. And they just keep dragging you.
He gets dragged. He looks as he's going past. Hello, hello. Is this normal here, or this is a weird greeting?
They're all just kind of, all the dragonborns are just chuckling a bit.
Why are they laughing? They're scary when they laugh.
The girl looks
Okay.
and says, no speak Draconic.
Who doesn't speak Draconic? You
Points
know?
to you.
Oh, no. Oh, no. So, okay. So, thank goodness you speak Common.
So Thomas, as you're getting dragged up towards this, what looks like a mine in itself, you see a building to your left looks kind of a tavern-esque, and one to your right looks like a temple. You get dragged in, and from the darkness, you see this herd of massive dragonborns, all that look black, like with soot. You can't tell their skin colors, and carrying these massive picks on their shoulders. As all of them, all these snake-like eyes just look at you, and they start tilting their heads. And these picks are massive, and they just seem to stare at you as they stop.
He looks at the kids. He goes, "These don't look anything like Sir Tim and Ileana." Well, that one kind of looks like Sir Tim.
At this point, as one of the big ones comes and is speaking in Draconic, and he looks a little angry, like he, just that kind of, he's got a furrowed scale brow, and he's talking very, rough in his language you don't understand, and it sounds very menacing. He just starts to step towards you, and he takes the pick down, he starts tapping it against, his clawed hand, and he's looking at you. It's like there's almost these thuds as he's, they're well over 350 pounds. He's probably 6'4", and he, compared to you, and he looks angry as all hell.
He's gonna look at the kids. What are they doing?
They just let go of you and they step behind you, and one says, in common, goes, uh-oh, trouble, and they both bolt. And he's
I'm assuming this is your father? Crap. Crap.
At this point, he kneels down to you and just stares right in your eyes. And Draconic says something to you, which there's still the anger behind his voice. Ileana, Tim, and Siri, you're exiting the tavern at this point. There's this massive dragonborn looking at Thomas. Sounds to you. Everyone give a perception check, except for Thomas. You guys are coming out to it.
Is it like dim light or is it dark?
It's dimish light. Yeah, you can still see. There's still a bit of that haze. And okay, so Tim and Cerelia, he sounds pissed. Like you have no clue what he's saying, and he's looking at Thomas with his axe in his hand, like his pickaxe in his hands, and he looks mad as hell.
Tim looks to Cerelia and says, "Do you think he was trying to pick up on that man's wife or something?"
Ileana, you hear him apologizing in Draconic. You figure he's probably mad at the kids for dragging this poor out of towner along. He's not mad at Thomas.
Okay. She would go up and she looked at him and say, come on, he's not mad at Thomas. And she'd head over. Thomas!
Just 1 second. He looks at the dragonborn. I swear I did know her name, and he's rubbing the back of his head. And he's like, I didn't know her name. I didn't know, anything. I swear to God, we just went on a date.
He puts this big clawed hand on your shoulder and switches to common. Now they realizes you don't understand Draconic. And just goes, you have a taste for our women. You won't find them in the mines there, sir.
Wait, you speak common?
Yes, we all speak common.
Yay! I mean, look, screw it. Yay!
My name is Dirkville. Those are my children. I was yelling at them because this is not how we treat guests.
I was wondering why they dragged me to the mines. I thought they were wanting me to work or something. They told me about Sir Tim and Ileana. It's over. Oh yeah. Hi, Ileana.
Hi, Thomas. She waves.
Sir Tim, I found your stunt double.
My what? He looks confused.
Hi. Beater of halflings.
Hi.
He looks over to Sir with a raised eyebrow at Zerla. Goes, "Yeah, you might fit in here." Then he taps you on the shoulder.
I don't like where this is going.
Dragonborn women can be rough. And he steps up, puts the pickaxe back over his shoulder, says, "However, I have 2 children to scold. If you'll excuse me." And him and the rest of the miners. All these Dragonborn are chuckling now, and all of them are they look, and one gives a thumbs up to Thomas, and he leans down and says, he whispers a name to you, Thomas.
Okay.
Hold on, I'm getting you the name. And in Halfling, because he actually speaks it.
Nice.
I will. He basically tells you. Does anyone else speak Halfling?
It basically says what? I'm sorry.
I'm going to tell you. I'm asking if anyone else speaks Halfling. Otherwise, I'm going to DM you, Nasi.
No.
Nope.
So
I don't speak little people.
I will whisper Nasi.
Okay.
There's the name, by the way.
See it?
Oh, I know that person.
This is different. Nope, you're thinking Nessiana. There you go, Nasi. He smiles, taps you on the shoulder, and walks away.
He raises an eyebrow. Huh. Huh. Who's the others? I think I may have a mission.
Another mission?
Yes, I'll need to handle this one solo. He looks at Ileana and Cerelia. Yeah, solo would probably be best.
Well, be careful. We were gonna go to the temple to talk to Kriv if you wanted to come. Or is your mission very important?
It's important to me. Very important to me.
I somehow question that.
Oh. Never doubt me, sir. Never doubt me.
You can insight him.
Okay. I'm good at this. Hopefully. Yeah, I'm good at this.
And his mission to him is very important. To him.
Tim just nods slowly. Uh-huh.
It is very important for him. Like he's not bullshitting you at all. I mean, he's not telling you what the mission is, but it's very important to him.
So Thomas, we got here a little bit before you. We met some of the merchants around here. Should point them out if we could see them from where we are.
It's a little bit harder, as most of these stalls are kind of closing up. They seem to be ready to close, but they seem like they stay open for the miners to come through them quickly, get anything that they might need, and then they close up after that.
Tim pulls out his lantern that he had and then just lights it.
You would note that you don't need the lantern, as you look down towards, there seem to be a couple Dragonborns that are slowly walking and using little bits of fire breath to kind of light the torches and the lighting inside the city. As Dragonborns do not have dark vision, so this town will be lit up at night.
Mm-hmm.
Tim will slowly put away the lantern.
He looks away at he looks at the lanterns and goes, "Huh. Curious.
What's curious?
Well, if they're down in the mines, I wonder if they use the lanterns down in the mines or if they have some other way to see down there."
don't know. We could ask.
That might be for another time, possibly. And he kind of gestures to the temple.
I didn't mean right now. I meant eventually.
Tim nods.
So,
He goes, I may have to go somewhere for 30 minutes, and then he thinks about it, and he just, no, oh dang it, let's yeah, we probably need to do this instead. She would be upset.
Who would
She?
use that?
Oh,
Huh? I didn't hear what you
No.
said.
Navi, he said.
Navi.
Oh.
Tim looks to him confused.
He looks back at the town, then looks at the group, then back at the town, then looks at Ileana and Siri, and he's like, no, it's still alone. All right, yeah, let's go to this temple. Siri, give me directions to the temple.
I get it. I get it. Great.
I get it too. I get it too. But as we're walking, Tim's gonna look to him and kind of like lean down a little bit and say, "What does Navi have to do with this?"
He rubs the back of his head. Nothing.
Can I inside him?
Sure.
I'm trying to.
Did you run into Navi and...
He's technically not telling you a lie. Navi has nothing to do with this. He might think that, I mean, remember, you guys did bond with the other group. You know, she might think that the mission to save Asuka would be important, and that's what he's judging it off of. But there is, you know, by his words and his own admission, he's not lying. Navi has nothing to do with this. He's obviously not being all fully forthright with you. Like, we know that out of character. He's not being fully forthright with you. But he's also not deceiving you in any way. He is speaking and using very literal terms. You also know him as a rogue. You kind of expect this.
Yep. Tim just nods and continues walking towards the temple with
So
the
you walk
group.
across the street.
It was only for a brief second.
Yeah. So you guys walk across the street, and there are two doors that are closed. They are not currently open, but there's light from inside the temple.
Thomas looks around. Are we gonna knock, or are we gonna go in, or Siri? What do you think we should do?
I put a chip into my mouth.
I hate you and I love you at the same time, Mousy.
Silicone's bad.
I'm never going to.
Siri, what is the weather like for tomorrow?
Foggy.
Tim looks to her. You can tell the weather?
I'm just guessing.
I've got to get the update. And he'll walk inside the temple.
Oh god. So as you push these big heavy doors open, or attempt to,
Liana would
I did
open.
not mean to do that.
Siri lights her sword.
No, she doesn't.
Okay, as he's pushing, I want to pull
Okay.
the one that he's not pushing.
Okay. You pull the door, and it doesn't move. As he is doing it the right way, these are just big, heavy doors built with Dragonborn in mind, not halflings. What's your strength, Thomas?
Not even close.
What's your strength, though?
I think it's 8.
Okay. Like, there's the dirt's moving. Yeah, he's pushing. The door's not moving.
He looks at Tim as he pulls on the door. He goes, "Do you see any hinges on the outside?"
If I look, do I see any?
This door definitely opens in.
He looks
Yeah.
to Thomas and says, "Huh, I just thought you were pushing it the wrong way." And he looks to Cyrilia and says, "Halfling Beta, can you open the door?"
He steps away from the door. Matter of fact, he starts a few feet back.
Oh my god. Because I don't have the strength for this either.
Well, Ileana will push on the door.
Ileana, what's your strength?
It's a 10.
Okay. The door opens because she's not a halfling.
Oh,
With an 8 strength.
you're strong.
Thank you.
Oh, what
How
did
do your
I get
arms
myself
feel?
into?
Pretty good. How do your arms
Okay,
feel?
he jumps up in your arms. Carry me.
Catches you.
Onward.
Okay. She put you on her shoulder.
The wing.
Okay. So you step
Siri,
into this...
find the temple.
You are in one.
0.5 meters that way. Huh.
Okay.
As you do this, there is a large figure in the far end that just raises a scaled eyebrow ridge and tilts his head towards you.
Tim will,
Towards us or anybody in
Yeah,
particular.
towards all of you.
Tim bows slightly and he says, "I apologize for my small friend here. I think his head is still concussed in some way."
No, he's very lucid.
Yeah, I'm pretty good. Hey, how are you doing?
Hello, sir. I'm sorry for the intrusion.
He's just lost for words. And just raises one finger. Turns back to the altar.
Wait, which finger?
Mother's-
This is important.
His pointer.
Okay, there we go.
Finishes saying something in Celestial.
What does he say?
It seems like he's saying a prayer to help.
Okay, I understand Celestial, that's why.
And then stands up and starts walking towards you. Let me guess. Give me 2 guesses. One, because I want to amuse myself. And the second, because I'm probably sure I know who you are. Traveling band of bardic performers focusing on comedy.
This guy's not that good.
Tim raises himself from his bow and speaks in Celestial. "I don't think that is correct, sir."
No.
Now they're speaking funny again.
Responses, Celestial. No, I was hoping. 2, you're adventurers.
Tim chuckles.
And he says in common, you're adventurers.
We are.
The second guess was much better.
He's obviously very experienced in this.
I need to see what his passive is.
Tim just chuckles at his
probably
response
does.
from Celestial.
Your sleight of hand in general would be fine. He's a very tall dragonborn. He is gold. And I need to open something back up because things aren't on the sheet. You.
Is he sleight of handing something?
No. I was looking for it on the sheet.
Oh, okay. Does have a very high passive perception.
Yeah, you have gold, very, very well built. There are definitely scars and beatings on his scales, some of them, that he probably has not shed in the last few years. So, any motions to like seats? He takes one himself.
How does he sit down?
He sits down just normally, very relaxed. He has no, he's in kind of, clothes or robes. He's not geared in any way.
He doesn't sit crisscrossed or anything like that, right? Just normal?
Just normal.
Okay.
Kind of leans forward, elbows on his knees. He looks at you. Why are there adventurers in Arden?
We came to talk to Kriv Okara in order to find a friend who's lost in the Shadowfell. We heard that he had a battle there.
He did. Why would you seek out Kriv
Are you-
of Okara instead of someone like, I don't know, Sorry or...
Are you Kriv?
Well, we could seek them out, but we're back in Wishik. We hadn't been to Arden.
And he looks to you and just nods. Tim, I am Kriv Okara.
It's nice to meet you, Ileana.
He does. Ileana?
I am Sir Tim Falconer.
Sir Tim. Nods. And I would assume the halfling beater is named Siri? It sounds like
Yeah,
you're
she-
good at finding things and with directions.
Answering questions.
And you are, little one?
Oh, I'm sorry. Slow me down.
She moves him off her shoulder and puts him in a seat.
He stands in a superhero pose. Thomas. And he looks off into the distance like he's, just like he's trying to be too cool.
Ileana makes his cape whiffle.
He,
When did I get a cape?
you have one now. It's good canon.
All right.
He chuckles. You remind me of Miri.
Do we know this person?
Miri,
Out of character?
Miri fought with you. Miri
Okay.
Connor.
Lady Miri.
He chuckles. Oh, Connor.
We
I
met
assume
Connor.
that you've met the two of them then.
Oh yes. They were great help against Fiora.
Ah, the Lich.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tim's wearing the robes of the Lich still with the cut off bottom.
Gosh darn it, Tim.
But he doesn't know what she was wearing.
Okay, I'm just pointing that out. He's still wearing the robes. As like a coat. And the bottom's cut off because that's where Thomas was being dragged on.
So, why seek me out for the Shadowfell?
Thought perhaps we're sorry could give us information about the plains, or Merlin could give us a transport or a way there. You might be able to tell us what dangers would be able to be faced inside, and possibly where our friend would be, or what dangers she would face.
To explain this is to tell a great deal of history. What do you know of Northern Utova?
She would look to the others.
You
There's Goliaths and giants. Sorry's from there.
No, that's Edosia. Utova,
Oh.
the continent you're currently on, with Wishik.
do we have
I'm from another continent.
we don't have any information about this continent, huh?
Nope.
Tim just shrugs. We've
I'm
Only
from
been-
Kikarum.
Kick a what? Oh, that other one. Yeah. You have to understand, where we grew up in Edosia, we thought we were about the only one until we found this one. I don't know how we've never really traveled between each other, but that apparently is how things were. He kind of motions to wait, and he walks over and grabs out kind of a scrolled map of Northern Utova, basically what you guys are looking at on here, and I will scroll out for stream so that they can see the locations as we discuss them. He says about 2.5 years ago now, we first arrived on this continent. All of us on a ship from our homelands, for varying reasons. Talgar came in search of to expand his family's name and to help the Lord's Alliance. Taco, or as we named her, Eva, she lied about her name quite a bit. She was from Blackmarsh, and she was escaping her fate. Very much of the same crimes. Many criminals were sent here, and were given a second chance. Those of the less severe type. They would still execute the murderers and stuff like that, but those who might spend years in jail for petty theft were sent here to potentially make a better name. And he motions up here to Ravensworth. Ravensworth was already well established and built up by the time we arrived. When we came, we were pulled as a group to... And let me just change up the background thing here. We were picked as a group for a mission to prove ourselves, as we were all, in our own right, capable adventurers, war fighters, whatever you would say. That led us through the Idia Plains and crossed the Varric River. He motions to this large crater. That was all once part of the Pine Hills. The elven tribe from the Feywild, known as the Olvas, was there as we were meant to deliver an item for a eventual meeting, as they had been almost in a blood feud. How that all started, we are not fully sure, but if I was to put my money, the ex-speaker of Ravensworth was the one that seemingly started it. As we were told by the elder of the Olvas to leave, to run, to get away. The two guards that were sent with us opened the crate, and it was a large magical explosion. Similar to, if you've seen black powder before, similar to what happens when you fire a weapon, but I think on a scale that created this entire crater. What lied below, however, was not something I think anyone was expecting. There were these large husks of crystals, seemingly there to bind something. We would eventually return after seeking some time in Wishick, as we were figured. After one of our party members basically threatened the speaker, saying he was out to kill him, we had quite a bit of heat on us in Ravensworth. Well, we heard of an attempt to contact the Olvas, as one who you may have met named Mirwin came to Wishick to talk to us. We were too late. We failed. Those that were inside were released. A great being known as Venafinden, who was a demon yet from the Shadowfell.
Arcana check on that?
Sure. Which exact part are you trying to Arcana check? Like, what exactly, what are you trying to gain from your Arcana check, is the better phrasing for me.
The name.
Venafinden? You've heard it mentioned before as a great demon. I believe Merlin's mentioned it to you. I believe Fiora mentioned it to you. And I believe the other party has mentioned it to you. Outside of that, it holds no real significance in anything you've known. Definitely a demon. They're not lying to you about that by any chance. So that is for sure, but there's nothing sort of extra that you can gain from the name.
And it's from the Shadowfell.
That's where we fought him and killed him for good. One would assume. I personally will never believe that a demon is truly dead, but that's my opinion. If at least defeated, I believe he's defeated. I would not be surprised if he ever turned back up again. Who knows? The gods of death have their ways. He then led an army. The Olvas, and he points over here to what is now labeled as the Shadow of the Olvas, had a large flying city on an island. When they were released, some said they had failed in their mission, and they plane shifted their entire floating civilization back to the Feywild, leaving a few outsiders who would band with us. The demon army released. We were then stuck with a choice between two situations. We found out that there was a small bit of refugees that had left Ravensworth, led by a fighter by the name of Jay, who you guys have also met, by the way.
Oh, we met
Some of the
him.
other ones. To a refugee camp down here. We also had the Innocents in Wishik in the mine, and it took a lot of planning, a lot of cunning thinking from Talgar, and we had to pick which group we would save. We chose Wishik. Many people did fall at the refugee camp, but they were able to push around and eventually come to our aid over the course of greater than a day. To help us. We were nearly done for. We held out against the Horde as great as we could, knowing that they had already sieged both of the farms. We would then leave to explore both of them, not finding much other than they were rounding up people and dragging them into Ravensworth. Below Ravensworth, we found the second of the generals, Vanfin's generals, in which we would kill there and gain some knowledge below Ravensworth. We then traveled to a city far south. We would also first go to southern Utova, which is where you were gaining allies in Silva, Damaris, and even Cesarno, though only certain ones of us could go to Cesarno, as his emotions to Juliana. They would kill your kind. Without a second thought.
Yes. Fiora mentioned that as well.
We had to worry about them. We decided to not try and ally ourselves with the Durgar in Trone. But we traveled via Merlin to a continent much south across the Jade Sea. Now, mind you, this isn't on his map. He's just telling you where. Outside a city that seemingly goes on for days, locked in time, we found the ancient city of Zarodale, and I will spell that for you, Firefly.
Thank you.
We learned that we were different than everyone else. Our souls were the same. We had failed. However, the situations of our lives kept changing. Almost as if for some people the world would reset, but for us, this was our first and only go. If we died, we didn't reset alongside with everyone else. People, I would assume, much like yourself, had lived the same life over and over again with no knowledge. We were different. Every time.
That's what Merlin said. we were different. At least Clay and
So
Haska and myself and Elliot. I assume everyone else as well.
I had been seeking my mentor, Aiden, who every time would train a paladin. They would die at some point trying to fight Vinafindan, or before, depending on the circumstances of the individual. He would get captured every time, and as time was set, he would remember each and every one of us. Our souls being locked inside his blade. He kind of, nods. I found the blade. I wielded it. I was able to talk to some of the fallen paladins before me. In Zaradale, we went through the process that each and every one of us had gone through previously, or the previous incarnations of us, and we set sail for the island of Locane, overrun with demons, a dark place without shadows, such as the Shadowfell is. The entire island itself is a very small gateway to the Shadowfell itself. It is dangerous, it is horrific, but that is where we fought before a council of gods on either side. We were victorious through the help of others. I don't know if we could have done it without aid from our allies and others around us, to be honest with you. That is what I know of the Shadowfell. After that, we returned to our homelands. I brought the Dragonborns here through the aid of Talgar and others, but it was a very sort of rough adventure. I nearly died and was brought back as I fell in the Underdark, but I was brought back to life due to Navi, and I've returned to my people to live out the rest of my days and guide the young ones, teach them and see what life is for the future generations. It can be as best as it may.
What do we know about the Underdark?
You guys give me history rolls. History or Arcana?
History or Arcana? Okay. Oral history. $25.
Okay, give me 1 second to get a drink. My throat's all messed up right now. Alright, better. Now that I'm not dying anymore.
Yay for not dying.
So, Cerelia, you've heard its name. You've heard its terrible place. Thomas, you just think that it's like under something. You're not sure. You're like, it's under the dark. Who knows?
Right, it's nighttime there. Got it.
Exactly. Ileana, I'll get you last. Tim, based on your history and what you would have access to, you would know that the Underdark is a place that is not on actually this plane. However, it seems the deeper you go in the world, that the barrier between realms sort of lessens. It makes it easier to find pockets of the Underdark. It is in Legacy of Fate, the Underdark is its own plane of existence.
So it's a different plane in this world.
In this world, it's a different plane, yes, for Legacy of Fate.
Okay.
But
That's interesting.
you get it the same way. You get to the Underdark by going down, and you find pockets that are things. They found a pocket to the Underdark under Ravensworth, actually. So Trone, which is in the Underdark, is Durgar City. Literally, they dug into a town, into this mountain, found a plane, and then set up their city inside the Underdark. And you actually go through the plains to get to it. This is a mirror of this. It's a mirror of this as well. Basically, think of it as like perpetual night in the sky. There is no light naturally. Like, there's bioluminescence, similar to the Underdark for us, but you know that for your character's knowledge, you know that it is the Underdark. There is a some in the Dwarven kingdoms. There are some barriers that have been weakened, and that was what helped the human kingdoms kind of initially get their foot up on the dwarves as they were fighting a war on two sides. Ileana, you know it is a different plane of existence entirely. Perpetual night. Duergar Drow originate from there. There are stories that the Drow were once regular elves that were then banished there. You don't know all the story behind it. It is something that no one has actually learned yet in this world, how Drow exist and their canonical lore for Legacy. But you know that at one time it was said that they were banished there. You're not sure why. That being its own plane, it would be potentially able to plane shift to them, to the Underdark. You know that it's generally considered a terrible place.
Does just for clarification, does Sir Tim know about the pocket of planar travel underneath the ruins of Ravensworth?
Curve told you that's what
Okay.
They'll tell you that. So, that being said, and that's basically where my story ends.
Interesting.
I mean, that would be, you could travel to Locane. I have no idea what will be waiting for you there.
Tim nods. He's been writing notes this entire time.
You have a couple of questions. Fiora mentioned that the gods were slumbering after your guys had your battle with the demons, I imagine.
He nods. They expended a great deal of power. We were told that they'd be slumbering through giving us the chance. They are not gone, but some other than others may be asleep. In terms of less powerful is the way I view it, at least.
If Fiora was able to tell us that about a year from now, that there's going to be a great cataclysm, and the gods of death are having a place still in the affairs of mortals?
I would assume so. I mean, their first plan failed. Mm-hmm. They are still in existence. At some point, they would strike again.
Mentioned when the fields burn, our year is up. Do you know what the fields could mean?
Well, and he starts to think, as I look to see who knows what. 1 second. Give me 1 second, I'm just looking for where it is.
I'm fixing my character sheet.
Well-
There's
The and he taps his tapping his. Well, the first one, if you look back at it, it was a war. We went to war with demons. If the fields were to burn, that would likely cause famine. They couldn't kill us with war, so they would try and kill us with food. The lack of it. Now, what could burn? Fields, dragons, there's an entire element, a plane of fire. It could be a disease, I don't know.
So it could be anything.
Well, yes. Really, without more information, those would be my assumptions.
I would have been able to give you more information.
At least we have a warning.
Viewer also mentioned that the best bet for our friend is in the Circle of Bones. She mentioned it was dangerous and we're not ready, which I believe her in. But I don't know what Circle of Bones she's mentioning. Do you know?
Cradle of Bones, by the way.
Oh, Cradle of Bones.
There was rumors of north of Ravensworth of an island of undead. And paladins that used to come from there to aid the Elvas. But it almost was like the mountains themselves looked like bones, from what I'd heard. I have never seen it with my own eyes. But that would be my best guess of looking for that location, would be to sail north towards the ice caps.
Let's see. Well, may take us a bit, but hopefully we can find some leads there, or go and ask Sorry and those that helped to see if they have more information. Any ideas what these fields could be?
Potentially. I do wish I could offer you more, but that's all I know.
Tim nods and looks to Ileana. He did mention of talking to Merlin before when we entered. Did you not?
What was your question again?
What?
Tim nods and he looks to Ileana and says, he did mention that we should also talk to Merlin of helping to find Asuka.
You could, yeah, Merlin knows more than any of us.
Yes.
It's not too bad of a travel across the road still stands.
That's good. Kriv, do you happen to have probably couldn't use it myself, but weapons or armor for my friends that you're not using?
The only items that I personally own are very dear to me. apologize.
That's alright. What weapons would you say would be most effective for the Shadowfell?
You will need magical weapons. They're just too dangerous without them, to be honest with you. Certain demons are immune. You can't even scratch them without the hint of magic.
Tim pulls out bad news from his back and holds it up. Is there anyone that knows how to possibly turn this into magic? Or have a magic aspect?
He looks at it. A gunslinger, are we?
Yes, you mentioned black powder earlier.
Yes. We had a gunslinger. The loudmouth one that I spoke of. That got us almost all killed. He was a gunslinger as well.
Because I wasn't here, did he mention where he was? Or...
Did you ask where the other gunslinger is?
Yeah.
Slaughtered in the defense of Wishik. He had his head removed and thrown at our feet.
Oh. He looks to him again and says, those mines, is that black soot, is that from the minerals in the mines, or is there possibly black powder here?
There is no black powder here, I do apologize. It's only gems.
He nods.
He goes, you obviously have limited travel capacities?
Oh, yes. Very limited.
And your next trip is to Wishik? It sounded like.
I believe so. She looked to the group.
Tim nods. That would be a good start, and then he looks to Thomas and Cerelia.
It's the only port either, so unless you have magical means to get off the continent, you'd need to head to Wishik anyways.
Not yet.
Not yet what? Is he still standing on the chair?
No chair. He's standing on the ground.
I thought, no? Ileana put you on the chair. Ow!
On the floor. We have a gem merchant that will be heading out tomorrow. I'm sure he would let you ride on the carts. For your offer of protection if anything was to happen.
Ileana will chuckle. Would this merchant happen to have a name?
He would.
Is it the same merchant from our continent? Gosh dang it.
Which one was your merchant?
Eric.
Eric? No,
Eric.
no, it's not the same one. This guy's Dragonborn.
I can dream.
The one that Clay scared off in his drunken stupid?
He
Yeah.
ran all the way to a different continent. And found us.
I still want to do that now, but I can't because he actually has a name.
Yeah.
Next time.
hilarious. He ran to a different continent to get away from Clay. That's hilarious.
His name is Neslin. He's a brass dragonborn. He will be taking gemstones to Wishik.
Well, if that is our only way of travel, I would be happy to help protect the carriage.
I mean, you could walk.
That would take several days.
It
Weeks.
will take a week either way. Do you realize how hard it is to import horses? We
I'm
don't
sure
tend
with
to run them ragged.
No, I understand. It's hard to supply on continent.
He nods. He says, very well then, if there's no other questions. You all should get some rest. You have a continent to traverse. Just be happy there's no demons running around anymore.
Very grateful. Thank you.
It is a pleasure.
Before they walk out, or if they're about to walk out, Tim will look to him and say, quick question, if I may.
Yes?
On this continent, I'm obviously unaware. Is there any elven nobility here?
Not anymore. Whatever the Elvos would have considered nobility, they have not extended back from the Feywild.
Interesting. Thank you. And he follows the group.
So, at this point, with there being about 1:10 and our next idea actually decided upon where we're going, I think we will pick up with any conversations that happens at night, Thomas and his very super secret mission, and the travel to Wishik next week.
Fine with me. We actually have an idea of where we're going, guys.
You
High
actually
five.
made a decision. So, good night, Twitch. Thank you. We're back, and we will see you in a few days, I think. Sunday. Bye.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye.